don't fund the brick and mortar for a hospital district or a hospital district, but they give scholarships to the physicians who come to training. And so that will help. And it's an effort where the county has to also participate.
And another good point too, I learned, and I've been talking to a judge, the county by law can contribute 8% of the revenue budget yearly for indigent care, and it's not everything the county's responsibility to take care of that. But this is where possibly, and all the judges that are sitting on a joint meeting of city council and county commissioners, maybe this is a topic that we can discuss. With the understanding that really the county ought to be taking the lead, but obviously 85% of the county population is away from that. I think. So anyway, what I'm thinking of doing, and I do have an authority as a mayor, is possibly create a task force, joining Gonzalez and all the CEOs and maybe some other people in the community and kind of get a feel of the private sector as well, obviously, since it does have a tax component, and others, councilmen and whoever participate in the people in the South, because that's where the greater need is throughout. And see what shakes out of it, and then maybe once we have some sort of a consensus within our body, we could bring it to council and city management and see if we're get more serious about maybe hire a consultant to organize this for us. But once we see that there's openings here,
we'll coordinate with you, Mayor, to see who you would like to see on this task force. And we'll put it right on the agenda.
And as a point of reference, Apostle County and the city of Apostle, confronted this issue many years ago, and they put together a county hospital. And from that county hospital, they were able to actually run it in black, so much so that they had surplus revenues to open up a county children's hospital. And from that children's hospital and that little nucleus of healthcare there, nursing school formed, and then medical school formed, and then a university hospital took life. And then you had all the ancillary medical related businesses set up. And you had all these doctors move in, and all these nice properties being purchased, and all this otherwise undeveloped land coming onto the tax rolls. And so then over the years, what they have now is the Healthcare Center of the Americas, which attracts people from deep within Mexico and New Mexico and regionally. And so when we think of these hospital districts, it obviously serves the purpose of addressing the healthcare issues of those that are indigent. But from an economic development standpoint, it's another way to have possibly diversified itself with different economic clusters. And so, this is very much an opportunity for economic development as it is for indigent healthcare.
And I've noticed too, Dr. Gonzalez, that we have NHMR, we have all these health service provider services scattered throughout the city and the county, and just as a business person, that we could touch the administrative costs and bring them all to one umbrella, so to speak. And it doesn't have to be brick and mortar. Whatever money is left, we can voucher. And we can assist the private sector, private clinics, that these people have choices, that we go to doctor or whoever.
I think you heard from both companies, especially with the steel and it does open the opportunity of Councilman Hawkins because the health science owners are tied into training. So you do bring in research and training dollars from Versa and others. And yes, there might be a money generating. We can survive just the kind of number.
We have NAU and LCC that have reimbursement programs, what's with it. If it's planned properly and we can kind of manage the costs, spread the leverage or partnering with possibly other counties, maybe if it works, maybe we can make it work. I even suggested maybe, your health department, we move to that entity and free the city from that budget constraint.
But it doesn't
Maybe
preclude,
that'll reduce our tax rate as well. We can balance things out.
it doesn't preclude all the other agencies that are receiving funding to continue to receive that funding. But under a controlled atmosphere, which is you put all the services in one area, with one stop shop.
So once the people have an issue, they go there, they can send them, that's a navigator issue that we can raise the house. They can easily apply to the health area as well. But anyway, unless I hear something from council, I think I'll proceed with the
We'll get together with
task force, and we can make a list, and if you all want to pitch in or suggest names, by all means, that could be a good representation of the community. Well, thank you so much. We'll go back to the order that was done here. Please go for the cemetery staff. Yeah. City manager, I think that we can take 2 3 minutes, this is Rich.
Yes.
Or less. Thank you.
We took a break. We're back in session here at the workshop. We've been asked by management that if we could suspend with the cemetery expansion and the landfill expansion.
We'll take it to full council, man.
Yeah, we'll take it to the full council. So we're on transportation.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Nathan, Brad.
Nathan.
Good afternoon, Mayor. Nathan Bratton, Planning Director. The city manager asked me to shorten this presentation up, so we're down to 120 slides. It shouldn't take more than a minute a slide. Can we get this? This is the transportation projects update, and so I'll kind of run through it, Mayor. I think you probably know most of this already, but just for the general public and for the other council people. The I-69 US 59 Loop 20 corridor is the first part of that agenda item. The update on the Fast Lane grant application, it was submitted to Federal Highways on December 15th, 2016. It is called the Laredo Bundle. It does several things to our I-69 corridor. 5 direct connectors will be completed over Loop 20 and I-35. Kind of get a little graphic image there of what's happening. There will be a total of 8. Each of those connectors will be about 3,000 feet of bridge span, and it will be done within the existing right-of-way. So there's no right-of-way implication. It was environmentally cleared back in 1990, so that'll speed things up. The other part of that project that was submitted was the main lanes over I-35. So you connect I-69 to Loop 20, going over the UP Railroad Bridge. Again, they're constructed between the 2 frontage roads, require no additional right-of-way. That has been designed and is actually got funded. The money that is used to fund those main lanes was used in the application for the Fast Lane grant to leverage that whole package. So even if that Fast Lane grant is not successful, those main lanes will get constructed because the money is there. The other part of the Laredo Bundle package is a 1.8 mile segment of roadway between I-35 and the World Trade Bridge to add additional lane capacity to the highway. So visually, this is what it looks like. This is a kind of map of the area. There are the main lanes that will span I-35 and connect Loop 20 with I-69. The direct connects kind of go everywhere, but basically those allow connectivity from 35 to Loop 20 and I-69. And the additional main lanes would go west from I-35 all the way to the World Trade Bridge. The funding allocations, that whole package is $160 million that we're looking to get. 96 would come from the Fast Lane Grant, 25 million from federal CBI funds, 6,400,000 from CBI funds from the state level. City of Laredo is obligated to put in $32 million. That $32 million will be split up between Webb County and the RMA. The RMA has so far said they'll put in about $2 million, and Webb County as yet has not determined how much they will be contributing. This whole project was identified by TxDOT, City of Laredo, Webb County, and the RMA as a priority project for the community. This thing can happen begin construction within 18 months of the award notification.
TxDOT is also contributing the engineering and design costs, correct?
Yes, sir.
Separate and apart from the 160 million.
For portions of it, yeah, almost all of it. I'm not sure about the main lane part going to the World Trade Bridge, but.
But it's over and above the 160 million.
Correct. The projects, the different segments are all in different phases of development, but again, can be completed and ready, shovel-ready within 18 months of notice of award. When they're completed, they will, of course, upgrade a controlled access facility. In other words, it'll all be interstate standard. And it will obviously alleviate traffic in that area, and avoid future traffic issues probably out to the next 15 to 25 years. Finally, for every dollar that is invested, it yields about $3.8 in return. And that goes to time wasted in line, fuel costs, pollution, all of those have been calculated, and it's about a $3.80 return. Another project is the Loop 20 and International Grade Separation, again along the I-69 corridor. That is estimated to be completed in December of 2017. It's a $21,976,000 project, and the contractor is Anderson Columbia. Another project that has been worked on by the MPO specifically is the airport grade separation, again on Loop 20 I-69 corridor. The MPO has allocated about a little more than $4.5 million for right-of-way acquisition, and has also programmed funding in the amount of about $14.7 million to let the project to construction in fiscal year 2018. So that's pretty quick for a road project. Another project that the MPO has been instrumental in getting programmed is the Jackman grade separation. Construction's estimated at $19,691,000, and that is also intended to be let in 2020. The section here that you're seeing in orange is a section of road from Saunders to just south of the airport on Loop 20. There's that acquisition project for $4,800,000 roughly to widen that section. One of the things that the MPO has done is submitted requests to the Texas Department of Transportation, the commission, asking for additional funding. They have discretionary funding available, and they can direct it to any project that they want. So the MPO asked that they direct some money, $4.5 million, to the Jackman overpass, which would accelerate that by a year. The other thing they did is they asked for $19.6 million so that they can do this particular roadway section here that is in orange. And that would expand the roadway and bring it to interstate standards. So in essence, you would not have any stops until you got up to Jackman once that's constructed. And then once Jackman's built, you'll have no stops until you get around to the, Del Mar, or excuse me, University. The World Trade Bridge Fast Lane project is another project that the city's been working on very successfully, I guess. It's a $10.3 million project, and it'll relocate the fast lanes from their current site to the north part of the compound. This will allow the trucks coming across that are fast certified a straight shot back into the city. There will be less waiting, and it is anticipated will relieve congestion on the bridge. Anecdotally, there's about 40% of those trucks that could benefit from that, and that would really help reduce congestion at the bridge and at Customs.
And the percentage of trucks crossing that are already participating in the fast lane project is what, like 60%, I'm being told?
It's
The CT Pack are
about
fast,
20%.
about 20%.
20% are CT-PAT certified and 27% are empty. Those are the two categories, and that's not identifying the pre-certification. So you get about 50% that are not gonna have to go into the mix anymore. That would move the traffic straight through. So,
This inspection area, it's going to include 4 primary inspection booths, a non-intrusive inspection area, 2 exit control booths, and access to the secondary inspection facilities as well as the hazmat containment area. It's a turnkey project because at the end of the day, once it's completed, it'll be turned over to GSA. Customs will run it, and the city will, I guess, do some maintenance, but it'll be pretty much their show. It'll be a secured area, so forth.
Total price tag, 10.3, give or take, and the funding to come from?
the bridge.
Additionally, there's a weigh-in-motion system that will be utilized to implement the overweight corridor. That's a real important component. If you all remember, a couple of years back, Representative Raymond and the city council and the city manager all worked on getting an overweight corridor. In order to implement that, you got to weigh those trucks. So as they're coming across the bridge and they hit that weigh-in-motion scale, they can automatically be noted and charged and get onto the overweight corridors. The only overweight corridor that has been statutorily designated is the Char Parkway, which we know isn't built, but the legislation does allow the city to expand that. Okay, so we can have overweight corridors in other areas, and probably will, because that revenue can be used to enhance those particular roadways to concrete, and over time we'll have a very robust overweight corridor system. This is a picture of the secure lane diagram. You can see how I guess there's no way to kind of point on this thing, but that gray area shows the booths and how it will come out into the highway. This is the weigh-in-motion system, and the other side of the exit booths, that bar there is basically where the exit booths would be, the weigh-in-motion system would be located as the trucks exit the facility. This is the World Trade Bridge lane expansion, sort of a picture of what those extra lanes are going to look like and how the footprint of the roadway widens out to accommodate the extra lanes across the bridge, the International Bridge. The next project is the Achar Ruthinger Highway. It's a 5-lane concrete rural roadway from FM 1472 all the way to I-35. 400-foot right-of-way to be donated by landowners. Again, this is intended to be a highway, an overweight corridor highway. Again, I've already spoken about the 2861, the House bill that authorizes it as an overweight corridor, so all of that is in place. At full build-out, the highway will be a limited access highway with frontage roads and grade separations, similar to what you say for an interstate highway. Here basically is a diagram of the footprint of that roadway. The yellow is segment 1, the blue is segment 2. The environmental is being done on segment 1, and the county has started the environmental on segment 2.
Since it's an overweight highway, and I've raised this question, I don't know whether, I can't recall whether it was answered or not. You know, obviously, overweight vehicle, trucks, trailers at the exit World Trade Bridge would have to go through Mines Road and then connect to this Achar Ruthinger.
Well, that's one of the roads. As Nathan mentioned, one of the things that we included in that legislation was the city's truck route. Because
So they can go wherever?
Right, because the trailers don't go to just one designated park, they go, but
Okay,
they
well,
gotta
that's-
stay within the truck route.
Yeah, and that answers my question then. So it's not just specifically that, we
Right.
have the entire truck rental right.
One of the things that we started out with that, Achar, and putting the overload concept on it, because we were looking at a SIPLM, state highway SIPLM, and that would enhance it if it were to handle that overload. But we're just gonna make it out of concrete, so it just
Right.
automatically becomes an overload corridor.
And maybe at some point too, when we start talking about economic development, I realize we take it project by project and we kind of focused, and I don't know whether there's room where we can come up with a plan where, we can designate either these TRIZs or whatever, but we don't have to be breaking our heads, so to speak, for every project. We can say, these monies are specifically for transportation, and we can count on those. But that's a discussion for another day, I guess.
And definitely the opportunity is gonna come up when the Achar, the Ruthinger, that whole development. Because if you get it out in the forefront when nothing is there, then everything that gets developed, you're able to capture it.
And I guess the thinking I'm thinking, and I think I've had discussion with other council members, is that we'll always have infrastructure projects, always.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so.
And this could help pay for it.
Yeah, and then we can have a ready fund that we can use and bond with and whatever, other than the general fund.
Exactly.
Well, and I'm just injecting into the dialogue, looking at the Port of Laredo as a port, because that's what we are. We're a port. I mean, we're other things, but what pays the bills is the fact that we're a port. The fact that we're solvent is because we are a port. And when you look at the jobs that are produced because of the port, when you look at the ad valorem taxes that are produced because we're a port, all those industrial properties, and when you look at all the bridge crossings that are produced because we're a port, clearly that's something that we've got to be proactive and take care of so that we're competitive with other border communities. And one of the things that I've come to realize, and this is just a growing pain, I'm not pointing the finger at anybody, but we've been developing our port, kind of intersection to overpass to kind of just, piecemealing it, because that's the nature of the funding as it comes in, and okay. But if you look at other ports, and there is no other port to look at. I mean, this is a truly one-of-a-kind scenario. And albeit the problems that we have with traffic and infrastructure are problems that other communities would love to have, and the same thing that we complain about is the same thing that produces all of this wealth in our community. But when you look at what other ports do is they began to master plan their future growth. And a part of my discussions with Mr. Bratton as a recent and with the different stakeholders within District 7 is how can we retrofit development or planning that should have been done way back in the day. How can we retrofit that in so that we have a web of connectivity? So, let's just say you got an 18-wheeler that's broken down on the side of Mines Road and one lane is shut down. That's a really big mess, and that creates such a mess. But if there was a web of connectivity, well then, just like if there was a vein, so to speak, that was, that the blood couldn't flow through, there would be other conduits of ways to connect. And so what we've been looking at as a recent, we sat down with TxDOT and just brainstorming, is how to get, and apparently the folks that are helping us with our master plan are going to come back to us specifically on the port. And please don't look at the port like it's just a District 7 issue. I mean, the folks from the south side of town, when they jump in their vehicles in the morning to go to work, I bet you a lot of them, they head out to the Port of Laredo, the Mines Road. Same with your neck of the woods and vice versa, because we are one city. I mean, we can break it up in districts, but we're one. And so this port really needs to be looked at globally, and it needs to be looked at in how we can interconnect it, not just piecemeal, but as a whole. And so you mentioned a TRZ, or maybe it's a PID, or maybe it's a TERS, or maybe it's some other mechanism. But basically, like what we're doing downtown, with the funding source for infrastructure and big projects, we need to be looking at doing that as it relates to our golden goose. And so I would just, again, it's a workshop, and so we're exchanging ideas, and I would hope that management would, and my colleagues would embrace the idea of how to be very targeted in making this port all that it can be. And if we just go at it one little intersection at a time, we're not going to be where we need to be. It's this, the fast lane improvements on the bridge and that straight shot. And for instance, that's great. That's a great idea, right? You think, okay, well, let's unbottleneck that bottleneck. Let's unclog that artery. But then what you do is you shoot all of that traffic into the rest of the Mines Road area. And so then what do you do, right? Well, okay, well then let's attack that next intersection, and then we'll attack the next one after that, versus a more comprehensive global development strategy for the port as a whole. And then it goes beyond that. How do we deliver that workforce from South Laredo or from District 8? How do we integrate all of that into our port? Anyway.
And we can carry that conversation at the MPO.
Yes.
But that's exactly what I'm saying. Let's go ahead, please.
Just to reiterate, the Char-Ruthinger project is going to be a City of Laredo project that the city's taking the lead on. Again, the environmental assessment's at about 40% complete. It's pending TxDOT preliminary review. Some other paperwork's being developed prior to that review. Plans, specifications, and estimates have already been taken care of by the MPO again. $1,634,000 for 2017. All of these move that project forward. Construction, engineering, contingencies, and construction of the segment 1 has also been planned and programmed for payment by the MPO at $26,796,000. And that's planned for FY 2020. Segment 2, again by the MPO, $21,440,000 in 2023. Obviously, if more money comes available, CBI funds or whatever, these can be accelerated by allocation from the MPO. Another fundamental thing that has occurred is that on October 27th, 2016, the Texas Transportation Commission designated or redesignated Webb County an economically disadvantaged county. What this means is that the county is again available for up to a 76% reduction in its 20% matching fund requirement. It could save us $6-7 million on this particular project. Projects that are currently under construction, but off 69, are Spur 400 at Loop 20. Estimated date of completion there is March 2018. That's a $33 million project. The KCS rail bridge widening, which is just south of Spur 400, that's estimated to be completed in August of 2018, $25 million, contracted by Oscar Renda. The Mines Road widening of that third lane northbound is a $4.6 million project. That's going to add additional travel lane. That is estimated to be completed in September of this year. That's the pair for the southbound lane that has already been constructed on Mines Road.
That's a TxDOT project, right?
They're all TxDOT projects, with the exception of a Char. So here's kind of the totals. The airport grade separation, the Jackman US 59 widening right away, fast lane, which is a city project. It's a total of $168 million of investments that'll be completed. The additional potential fast lane grant is $160 million, and then the request of the Transportation Commission by the MPO, that's another $184 million. Your grant total there is $352,290,325 over the next several years of construction projects. Quote by Anthony Fox, he says, "The reality about transportation is that it's future-oriented. If we're planning for what we have, we're behind the curve." Thank you, and if you have any questions.
Thank you so much. If I may add 3 points. One, just through the auspices or co-sponsoring of the IBC folks, we're planning a border summit here in Laredo, Texas. The idea here is to review NAFTA, to hopefully come up with a plan, a 5, 6, 7-point plan on border issues, and then invite other communities in Texas, like San Antonio area. But IBC is planning to have this summit, co-sponsored by the city of Laredo, of course. We're helping out the border BTEC, Texas, TBIC, Texas Border Coalition Group also is very much involved. So they're thinking of the Friday, the 27th, I believe. It's not confirmed yet, but that's where they're shooting for. They're at the annex, the IBC annex, and it's primarily leaders, us, council judges from the border, and I think IBC is making arrangements for their transportation so they can come to that border summit. The other item too is we need to be thinking city manager and council in particular, Mayor Pro Tem. We need a Mayor Pro Tem. So maybe at the next.
Yes, it's on your agenda to select at your next council
At the
meeting.
next council meeting, okay. And I think we go by seniority. I think Councilman Alex Perez and Charlie San Miguel are probably the ones that would be next in line. And then also too, do we have any progress on Mercy Hospital? I know Councilman Perez is not here with us, but I know I still get some phone calls, and I don't blame the people because and I know we've been, and I saw Mr. Tito Garcia here from LISD. There were some conversations had with LISD, but I believe my understanding is that they're no longer interested on the Mercy Hospital,
Yes, sir.
the old building.
We did have some conversations with them in detail, and the school district decided to pull out and not necessarily follow through with the recommendations that we had recommended. They're looking at other properties now. I think the school district is looking at the Holiday Inn.
Yeah, so in fairness to the people, again, the neighborhood there in the area, I think it's been 2 years. I know that was one of my campaign
I know.
promises that we would resolve it some way, somehow, either board it up and clean it up, or ideally transfer that property into something more useful. But we need to continue working toward that end. So hopefully soon we can get something done.
We'll continue to work on it, Mayor.
Okay,
We know how important it is to the council member and to the mayor's office and to the rest of the council. I think
Also to the patients of the surrounding, people call, says, Mayor, do I invest more money in my property? I live next door. What do I do? So it's been very, very unfair for those folks here. Thank
Got
you.
it. Also, Mayor, just to let the rest of the members of the council, on the 12th at 6 p.m., we'll be doing the State of the City report.
Oh, that's right.
And Mayor, it'll be next week, Thursday at the LEA. Invitations have gone out. We've got
It's
some
free, it's open to the public,
Open
it's
to the
free.
public.
We encourage the public at large to come and listen and ask questions.
And your special guest is going to be all boards and commissions that serve for the city of Laredo, appointments of all the council members and the mayor. So all of those will be invited, as well as all the banks and LDF and chamber and school districts, and everybody that's on our list has been invited. So this coming week, we'll be prepared for it. We prepared for this particular strategic planning meeting. Hopefully the information that we provided today was meaningful to the point where it can build on our discussions so that we can prepare ourselves for the next fiscal budget that we're getting ready to get into here in a couple of months. After your State of the City report, we prepared to take the trip to Austin, our legislative trip. The mayor, you'll be at the president's inaugural ceremony. And then after that, it's WBCA. Then after that, we're back in Washington for our annual trip. And it'll be probably the most interesting trip we've had in a long time, simply because we don't know where everybody's going to land. And right now, as it is, we're anticipating, but after the 20th, hopefully we'll know how the chips fall, and we'll know exactly who we're going to go talk to when we get up there. And we'll continue to reach out to the Trump administration so that we can continue to get our message across to them as to what our needs are and so forth. And especially on this summit that's fixing to take place. We want to make sure what we discuss there is something that is put in his office so that they can see that if anything is going to be done at the border, they need to have people from the border at the table to have that discussion, not necessarily people from Tennessee or up there.
Absolutely, and that includes immigration reform as well. Who better than us here at the border that experience that every day? So I sincerely appreciate that too. I also want to thank council, whatever's left.
It was tough. It was tough enduring the cold.
Yeah. But as you know, we have 2 new members that joined the remaining 6 sitting members. It's a good mix. It's a good crowd. I think personally, it's an opportunity for us to turn the page and close doors that possibly we knocked down, or some way somehow maybe weren't open correctly or whatever, and to move forward and to
Yes, sir.
forge this atmosphere of us being colleagues and helpfulness toward each other and there's more respect.
And just to kind of build, this is probably going to be the format from now on. Your strategic retreat, because of the charter amendments, the State of the City report has to be done in January. So we'll do the retreat and then the State of the City. So those will be standard in the month of January. And I know the staff did a lot of work, especially coming out of the holidays to prepare for this day. We certainly appreciate council taking time to spend the whole day and get briefed on a lot of information. As you saw, look at the amount of money that's being invested through TxDOT projects and so forth. I think those are all opportunities that's going to take this city to the next level. The council has invested a tremendous amount of time in master planning, conducting studies that are going to lay down the groundwork that are going to get us to those particular points that we want to get to. And I think we're going about it the right way, developing the tools so that we can maximize our efforts. Of course, we'll continue to work together with the other agencies so we can collaborate with them and reinforce and leverage our resources with them so that we can get the biggest bang for our buck and working together as a community. And I think that's going to be the theme so that we can get as much done as possible.
You're absolutely correct. If I may add too, we do have these watchdog groups that come, and I personally appreciate that very much. I think that you're very much part of the community. I hear you all, and I think all of us do, frankly, because you all keep us in line. And if anything, the last 2 years has taught me personally that we need to truly communicate. Truly, nothing should shock us. Not that we have to be talking to each other before meetings, but we should know each other well. That we can expect, some level of professionalism that can carry us forward at each meeting. But also, too, I think there's a lesson for management as well and staff. We depend on you all. We depend on your openness as well with all members of council and, of course, the mayor. And
Yeah, call us, please. I mean, we need to have the communication, and I know y'all are busy and we're busy, but it makes a big difference when it comes from you all as just, hey, heads up, just letting you know this is what's going on. It definitely has us included in the process, because it's a council management style of government, right? And so, if we're not communicating, then, we're all losing. And if we are communicating, then, we're winning. I would just add that we also have the Texas State Legislative agenda and trip coming up as well. And so, looking forward to hearing from management on how we can best be prepared for that, and so we know what our assignments are.
And also, just so you'll know, we're coordinating as many meetings right now as possible. We'll get together with, on the briefing that we always do prior to going up there. I think State Representative Raymond has made his office fully available for all types of meetings, and I think we're gonna take him up on it. In other words, instead of us having to travel all the way to TCEQ on the highway, he's gonna bring TCEQ to his office so that we can meet there.
And also too, for the private sector, I know you're very much part of the community. You want to get involved, and you're asking and you're contributing, and I personally, and I think all of us, the city management as well, I mean, we welcome that as well. But we do have to get coordinated, because we do have just short windows of presenting our case basically on the respective subjects that we have to present to the legislators and Congress. So let's coordinate a little closer, and we invite you as well. The other point that I want to make too, usually maybe as a policy, we should be thinking, I think it's automatic that the city manager and staff, city management is for all of us. I mean, they're not exclusive as to one or two, whatever, and whatever information you tell management or counselor or whatever is subject to disclosure, amongst council as well, because we're all in this together. If I should go and tell management, I'm going to tell you this, but don't tell so and so and so and so and so and so, because I mean that's not. Personally, I think that's a violation of some fiduciary responsibility. So if we tell management something, he's at liberty to disclose to whoever asks him.
Has an obligation to disclose.
Right, and I think personally we know that going forward, we'll be more careful as to what we tell management, because they're under an obligation to all of us, frankly. We're all city council people, we're elected officials, and we're entitled to know. And I think with that understanding, I think it's good for management, because they'll know. I mean, the rule. If you tell me, I'm going to have to tell others. I'm not saying the public, but at least us. So at least we'll be prepared to and be more productive at meetings, and be prepared, frankly, for whatever argument comes our way. So we appreciate that very much. And
Mayor, we thank you and for all the time that you committed today. I think it was a worthwhile investment to get all this information to you. Hopefully it was worthwhile, and we're just going to continue to build on it from here on as far as we go in preparing all of our initiatives that you all have set out for us, okay?
thank you so much,
Thank you very
city
much.
manager, city management staff. Appreciate it. It's been a long day. I know we all have families and other more interesting things to do, but obviously this is city business, and we all get paid to do this. Part of our job. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.